Hello and welcome to episode 62 of the Wine Educate podcast. This is the 10th installation of our tasting series, a fun series we're doing this summer to apply some practical tasting exercises to help us learn some concepts a little bit better. And last week I did Lees, and I would be remiss if I didn't end up the series on episode 10 talking about a winemaking technique that also gets mentioned often when we talk about Lees, and that is malolactic conversion. Now, first of all, what it is not is a fermentation. And I was sitting in the shop and I didn't have my most recent copy of David Bird's book, which is excellent. It's at the house, but I had the older copy here at the shop. And I thought, oh, well, it's science. How much can really change? And I opened up the book and read the old chapter on malolactic conversion. Only he didn't call it malolactic conversion. He called it malolactic fermentation. And there was no mention of conversion in there at all. And this book is about 15 years old or so. So this goes to show you that this is a change, okay? So we now refer to this as malolactic conversion, but even as recent as 15 years ago, it was called malolactic fermentation. In your level 2 and level 3 books, they still mention that it was called MLF, malolactic fermentation, because you may still see that, right, in older books and whatnot. But now we don't call it that. It's a conversion because it is not a fermentation at all. It is a bacterial process of converting the malic acid into lactic acid. It's not about making more alcohol at all, although CO2 is a byproduct of it, which probably caused the confusion in the first place. Malolactic conversion happens in red wines almost routinely. That is why we don't really talk about it. I had a student ask me that once. They're like, why don't we talk about malolactic conversion in red wines? It's not in the book or whatnot. And it turns out because it just pretty much always happens. It's not a winemaking decision. The wines automatically go through it. But why do they automatically go through it? So again, I had a chance to ask a winemaker, why? And he gave a really great answer that makes a lot of sense. And that is for the wine's stability. So this malolactic conversion happens usually right after the regular fermentation. And this bacteria eats up these nutrients in the wine that other bacteria love to eat. They're the delicious nutrients. So if this bacteria doesn't go ahead and eat them up, it leaves the wine exposed for another bacteria to come in and do some damage, all right? There's lots of iffy bacteria out there. You do not want eating nutrients left in the wine and creating problems for your wine. So for red winemakers, they encourage it. It goes through malolactic conversion, done. Now, when it comes to white wines, it's more of a stylistic choice. Now it's a choice because winemakers have the tools and the know-how in order to encourage it or prevent it, or maybe go halfway and then stop it with adding sulfur and filtration and things like that. But back in the day, they didn't know. They didn't know what was going on. And sometimes the cellar would warm up in the spring and this malolactic conversion would happen. And they didn't really know how to stop it or what was going on. But now it is a choice. So what is happening and why would a winemaker choose to do this? This bacteria is converting, as I mentioned, this malic acid into lactic acid. Malic acid is the harsh, tart acid. Think Granny Smith apple. Think those horrible Sour Patch Kid things. And my children love to have me eat one to see mom's face do all kinds of contortions because, oh my gosh. And if you look at these packaging, malic acid is up there as an ingredient. It's like listed at the top 3. What's another one? Takis. Oh my gosh, those things. Do not eat a taki and then try to do a tasting note on a wine. FYI, don't do it. Those things are intense and they have a lot of this malic acid. So then what is lactic acid? Well, for my Latin scholars out there, lactic, right? Milk. It is a softer, creamier type of acid. If we go through the gamut of things that we could compare to lactic acid that are also in foods, think yogurt, buttermilk, creme fraiche, sour cream, those sorts of things. So it's a softening of the acidity, maybe increasing the mouthfeel, and also it gives it a very specific aroma. And I think the best descriptor for it is movie theater buttered popcorn. I know maybe we're going to the movies a little less these days, but if you got one buttered popcorn from the movie theater in your life, you are not soon to forget it. That very intense butter smell. So when you stick your nose in a wine and you get that buttered popcorn, chances are it's because of this malolactic conversion that has taken place. All right, so we did mention that red wines go through this. So some white wines do better, perform better with the malolactic conversion, and some don't. The big grape that is the hero, our hero grape that can be grown in all the climates and can do all the things, can be oak aged, can spend time on lees. Well, Chardonnay. And Chardonnay also has an affinity for malolactic conversion. You can do it or not do it. So think of a California, like a Napa Chardonnay. Many of those will go through this. Also, Burgundy will go through it, but not all Burgundy. So let's talk about Chablis. So in Chablis, they may want to keep that tart Granny Smith malic acid and have the wine not go through malolactic conversion. Other grapes sometimes do, sometimes don't. Think of maybe Viognier or Pinot Gris / Pinot Grigio. And some grapes, you really don't see it. They don't have an affinity for it. It doesn't really benefit them so much. Those would be grapes like Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc. So how are you going to taste this for yourself? You can go out and buy some of these things that have this sensation. And I mentioned some of them, right? So the Granny Smith apple, the Sour Patch Kids, maybe go for it, get some Takis. I don't know, they have like blue Takis. That just seems insane to me. Anyway, my son went through a phase and he ate a lot of Takis and made me eat them too. Malic acid. And then for the lactic acid, it's all the yogurty things that I mentioned, plain yogurt, buttermilk, creme fraiche. You can get the complete list in the sheet that I provide, right? And then you need some practical wine examples. Now, here is when you really do need to utilize the knowledge of your local friendly bottle shop. And so go visit them and say, I'm doing a tasting to taste the difference between malic and lactic acid, and I would like a Chardonnay from California that has definitely gone through malolactic conversion, and a Chardonnay from Chablis that has not. And it's really interesting tasting a wine that's made from the same grape, but that has had very different winemaking techniques applied to it. So now, is there an exception to all these rules? Absolutely. You could get a Napa Chardonnay that hasn't gone through Malo, and you can get a Chablis that has. But for the most part, you should be able to use these two as good examples, but do ask first, okay? And then you do need to be a little careful because I would taste the wines first and then taste the food items because some of these things are very intensely flavored. And like I said, you don't want to eat a Taki and then try wine. Oof, it's going to blow your palate out. So taste the wines first, then do the foods. But this should give you a really good idea of the two different types of acidity. And if you're really feeling like rounding it out, make yourself some popcorn and smell that popcorn, and you can log it in your brain as what lactic acid smells like. All right. Well, this was fun. We did 10 of these, and because I'm getting ready to switch gears into level 3 mode, I'm going to pause it here, but I think we'll probably pick this up again in the future and continue on with these tasting exercises. You can get the sheets on how to set all these up and giving you some prompts and questions to ask within your tasting group. You can get it in the newsletter, right? For one more week, and then I'm going to sunset this for a bit. So if you haven't scooped these up yet and want to, you still have another week. So go to wineeducate.com and look for that green button at the top that says newsletter, sign up. All right, friend, hope that was useful. And I am going to start talking about wine laws because especially for level 3, I'm not allocated any time in class to talk about them. They give you like a little video and say, Godspeed, study them on your own. But some of them are really tricky, especially the German wine laws, some of the Bordeaux wine laws. So I feel the need. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to do a little series on that. So make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out. All right, friend, I will see you on Thursday.